Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ishika Verma, a core member of the Azure developers community, and I'm excited to welcome you to the fourth session of our Azure AI Engineer Associate Bootcamp. Today's session is about develop solutions with Azure AI Document Intelligence. This session will give you an in depth look into how Azure AI Document Intelligence can help automate document processing tasks and extract valuable information from structured and unstructured data. Just like yesterday, we announced three winners for the session on the 13th. Next week, we will be announcing six winners, three from today's session and three from the session on the 19th. So stay tuned and make sure to submit your blogs or GitHub pages. We are honored to have Sourav Bera with us today. Sourav is a solutions architect at Microsoft with extensive expertise in designing and implementing cloud and AI solutions. His deep knowledge of Azure AI will guide us through today's topic and help us better understand the potential of AI in document automation. Without further ado, let me hand it over to Saurav. Over to you, Saurav.
Thanks, Ishika. Hey, everyone. I hope you are super excited for today's session and you have a good time learning about AI 102, right? This is a certification that almost everyone these days are chasing. Just ensuring that the buzz of AI is still, vibrant in the environment. So, without further ado, let's get started. And I'm super excited to share my learnings and talk about document intelligence, which is something that organizations use worldwide. So yes, no wait, let's get started. So I'll just quickly share my screen. Just a minute. Here I go. Okay, let me know if my screen is visible to you, and we are good to get started. So folks, what I understand, you come from a background of a mixed set of people from college as well as industry, and AI being the buzz for all, it's very important for you to get started as well as leverage these technologies. Now, how does Microsoft or Azure comes in the picture? Let's say we have already AI in place, right? There are a lot of folks who are working on building AI models. How does Azure comes into the picture, and why do we need to understand the different offerings that's available with these cloud solution providers? Let's understand each of them and we'll demystify. I'm pretty sure that you'll enjoy the journey throughout. So, okay, one quick minute. So before we get started, I have okay. So I wanted to quickly introduce myself, and that's where we get to know each other better. So my name is Sourav Bera, and I'm a solution architect at Microsoft. Beyond my day-to-day job as a solution architect, and well, pretty much everyone would have a question: what is a solution architect? This is something that I hear day in and out. So, just in a nutshell, in a layman's term, just like a civil architect designs a building, a solution architect designs software architectures before they are actually being developed. So, you have kind of a designing phase. The entire design of the solution, considering the various factors such as the requirements, the NFRs are taken into consideration. It's a complex role, but still, there's very lot of things to learn there. So yeah, I do love my role as solution architect. And what else? Okay, so what do I do apart from the my day to day job as a solution architect? I'm also a hackathon judge. I'm a speaker. I'm a researcher. So feel free to connect with me if you are someone who is looking to work on research projects or somebody already working on research projects and would love to connect. just wanted to quickly share, and I see the slide is not updated unfortunately, but still, I just want to share that I'm also equally 11 times Azure certified. AI 102 is something that I just grabbed recently, and so excited to share about you. And over here, I just don't wanted to overwhelm you, but still wanted to just share a few of my recent achievements in terms of my certification. So I'm also very active on the Kubernetes, groups. So I just completed all of the Kubernetes certifications, and I'm a part of the Kubernetes program member. Feel free to reach me out if you need more information on how you can become a member of Kubernetes program, or you can directly contribute to the Kubernetes or CNCF. I'm super active on LinkedIn, so feel free to connect with me. You can scan the QR code and connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm super active there. You can reach out to me for any help, so on and so forth. So, okay, we can get started. I just wanted to set the context before we, start. So, what we'll cover today, what does document intelligence mean to you? I would love to see the comments there on the chat. If you can just ping down what does document intelligence mean to you. Okay, so we'll talk about document intelligence. Why do the organizations need it, or why do individuals need it? Okay, we talk about different use cases. We'll talk about the key features that's there within Azure AI Document Intelligence as a service. We'll talk about the different aspects like custom models. We'll talk about the pre-trained models. We'll talk about the Azure AI Studio. What are the different offerings? We'll also talk a bit about the pricing. So pricing is a very key factor for anyone who is using these services. We'll talk about model as a service. What is model as a service? Right? This is something that's new to me. I don't understand it. So we'll understand that as well in detail, and for sure we'll have demonstration for you so that you get hands-on. You get get the feel of using these services, and then finally we'll wrap up by talking about some advanced features and something that where we can use these services in our day-to-day project, so on and so forth. uh, I see everyone is so excited about this session. So let's get started. But I have something for you. I just wanted to, and this is something that each time that I connect with people, I do share it because a lot of people might not know about it. So just let me share my screen and show it up to you. Just a minute. There you go. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Okay, let me know if you are able to see my screen. Yeah, yeah, great. So, hey, I'm on my Azure portal, but before that, for many of you, you might not be aware about this. So let me just quickly also, set the context. So before that, you must be knowing. I mean, this is the fourth day of the session. So Azure is a cloud solution. A cloud public cloud that's available to you by Microsoft, right? And how do you access it? It's very simple. You just need to go to the browser. You can type in portal.azure.com and hit enter, and that's all for you. Now, before that, you would be also aware that this is a charged platform, right? Since it's provided as a cloud-based offering or a service-based offering, it's obviously charged. But how, as a student or how, as someone who is out of college, can use this for free? Well, that's where either of the cloud platforms have their own programs, and that's where Microsoft also provides you way that you as a student or you as a fresh college graduate can leverage the service on Azure. So that's where I just wanted to quickly give you a walkthrough of the same. So I'm pretty sure that you have come across this, but if not, I just like to give you a quick walkthrough. So you can just sign up for the GitHub Student Developer Pack, and once you are there in the GitHub Student Developer Pack, you need to just enroll yourself. You need to provide a document which verifies your student identity. Once enrolled, you get a $100 AI, Azure credits for free that you can use for a year. So that's really something that's helpful. Otherwise, what you can do is that you can also swipe in a credit card, that debit card, and that would also allow you to get a $200 credit for a month or so. So I would really suggest, if you're a student, just sign up for this GitHub Developer Student Black. I'll share this in the link, and I see a lot of folks not using this, so would really suggest if you leverage this, and you will be able to leverage Azure, or you will be able to explore around Azure and play around it. So yeah, that's where you just need to sign up for this. And just a minute, I'll share the link over here. That's just a quick uh, knowledge check on this. Okay, and I need to connect in Teams. Okay, in case you haven't, just feel free to sign up and leverage this, which is available to you for free. There you go. Okay, now once you're there on Azure, how do we navigate to the Azure AI services? Now Azure has a variety of services, and do you can you estimate, or let's say, can you make a random guess of the number of services that are available on Azure? I would love to see the guesses on the chat. But just to break the myth, there are around 484 plus services that are there on Azure, which is the cloud platform. And how do we categorize these services? So, broadly speaking, I just want to set a quick context before we get started. So, there is compute, there is storage, there is data, there is network, there is security, and there are other services as well. Machine learning, AI, these are subsidiary services that are available on Azure. But broadly speaking, we categorize these services on Azure as five different services. Now, okay, within machine learning and AI, how does Azure provide you the platform, or let's say, how does AI services are being provided to you on Azure? Would love to see those random guesses popping up on the chat. If not, okay, just to explain you the same. When Microsoft or any other cloud solution provider came up with these AI services, a key constraint for everyone was to leverage these models. These models were trained, and these were highly compute intensive models. Where to run this model? So let's say I want to train a model from scratch, or I want to I want to fine tune a model that's already been trained by somebody else. How do I, or where do I train these models? Where do I run these models for inference? That's where the cloud solution provider came up with an idea. Let's provide these models as a service. And what does it mean? Now, this model as a service, you might have come across this term. Uh, so when you talk about model as a service, the cloud provider, or let's say the compute provider, ensures the sufficient compute, as well as the storage, the data, the network are being provided by the cloud system provider, and you as an end user just consume the model. You provide your data, the model will infer out of it. You can and you get back the inference. It can be through the GUI portal, it could be through the APIs, it could be via the SDK as well. Now, also, this is fine for the inference. I'm using a pre-trained model that's maybe developed by Microsoft or by some other provider. Now, what about if I want to train a model from scratch? How do I train? I train it on my own personal laptop? Well, the answer is yes. But for a large language model, or let's say some complex model that requires more compute service, I would require a server. Do I have a server in premise? It might be yes, it might be no. So just to ensure for training large models with complex data sets, you require sufficient capacity to not only store the data as well as to process the data. right? So that is where a cloud solution provider or a cloud provider provides you the platform to also train your models as well as host your models. So this is the term, I mean, collectively called as model as a service. Now, I wanted to give you a quick walkthrough of the Azure AI services. So when you talk about the Azure AI services, you have a, and I'll just go to my home portal.azure.com, and I'll just type in on the search bar Azure AI service. So you see the first one is the Azure AI service over here, and when you see there are tons of services, models as services that are provided by Azure. Now, what is important for us? We are interested in document intelligence for today's session. So let's get started and head up to the document intelligence tab. Well, this shows me up. For a few of you who are new to Azure or maybe not have created an instance on the document intelligence tab, you need to create an instance. This is quite simple. You can just go to create, click on create to create an instance. And why do we need this instance? Well, uh, okay, let me just give you a quick walkthrough. uh, every resources on Azure are being collectively or logically being contained in a subscription. Within the subscription you have a isolation layer which is called as resource group. Just understand it like this: a student within a school, within a classroom, right? A school is the bigger physical entity to which the student belongs, as well as the classroom is the smaller entity or the sub entity to which the student belongs, right? And this helps us identify why that student is. So all resources on Azure are contained within a subscription, which is the larger entity, and a resource group is the sub entity over there. Now, how does that billing happen, and why do we need a subscription? The billing always happens at the subscription layer. Whatever resources do I have, let's say a virtual machine, a database, a SQL database, or a Azure AI service, or maybe let's say a network service, anything it might be, all the billing happens at your subscription there. So always you need to create an instance or a resource which is contained within your subscription and then your resource group. Hope I'm clear. Feel free to ask me any question if you have any. I mean, feel free to just drop in the chat. I would be happy to take it up, and I would request the moderators to just ping up any questions that might pop up in between. Yeah. So while I get started with creating an instance, the first thing that should have in my mind is what is my subscription. So over here, I see my subscription. This is a dummy subscription, and which is something that I created. And within that, I'll have a resource group, which is the sub entity, like a classroom, a student within a classroom. So yeah, I provide a sub-entity name as Azure AI Service RG Resource Group. As the name suggests, it's a collection of resources, a resource group. Okay. Now, okay, and okay, where do I want to keep my instance? It can be anywhere across the world. So now, okay, across the world, you have nearly 240 plus regions on Azure and 120 plus major regions. These major instances for sure support these AI instances, so you can create your services in these regions. So maybe let's say I choose Central India, which is my closest region. Okay, there might be several requirements, or let's say there might be several reasons for choosing a region specific to your location. I'm just giving an example. Let's say I'm based out of Europe, so I have a regulation of data that's called as GDPR. So my data should reside within Europe region itself. So I would select Europe, so on and so forth. So let's say I've selected Central India, and then I give the name of the AI, I mean the resource instance. So okay, I will give it the name as Azure AI Doc Intelligence. And just to keep it as unique, let's say okay, it's a unique. And then okay, now while you create the document intelligence resource, the pricing tier is a key thing to consider. Now be it a demo subscription, or let's say you just enroll for the GitHub developer student pack and you get a trial subscription. Either way, you can choose to go for a standard pricing. Now this standard pricing is something that you are paying for. And also there is a free tier, so you are allowed to create one free tier. I already created an instance with the free tier, so that is where it does not allow me to create the standard, the free tier. While for you it should appear as F0. F0 is the free tier, so feel free to select the free tier, and that's where you will be able to see you will be able to proceed with the next tab. On the networking tab, for this particular demonstration, we'll keep the network as default. While you can also set up your own settings of network, that you can specify that, hey, my application or my end user should be only able to connect to the instance, the AI instance, only through a specified network. So you can specify a network, or there is a concept called as private endpoint. I'll not go into the details of it, which is something that ensures a more secure connectivity to your instances. Now on the identity type, I can create a system assigned managed identity, and managed identities are like bots that helps you do a particular task. Okay, so let's say an application wants to access my AI instance. So how does the application authenticate? It's through a managed identity. For this particular demonstration, we'll keep it to default and keep it things simple. And I'll just go out. You can add tags. Tags are like metadata for your resources. And finally, I review and create. So just to reiterate, key things to ensure: your subscription, your resource group name, the region, the name, and the pricing tier. The pricing tier should be free for your particular instance, so that you don't incur any charge. Okay. So it says deployment in progress. I'll just wait. I'll just wait for a while for it to complete. And I'll also show you the other instance that I just created some time back. Yeah, sure. AI Studio, Sure AI Services. Yeah. And within that, document intelligence. So you can see the early instance that I created, which is a free tier. You will see the pricing as free. You just need to select the F0 option when you see the pricing tier. Now, okay, within my the instance that's created. Okay, so this instance is also created. Now these, why do we need to create multiple instances? Okay, a key thing to understand over here is that uh, the best practices says that you need to create separate instances for different workloads. There is one application that uses the document intelligence, while there could be application two for the different use case. So the best practices says that you should keep it separate, and you should create separate instances. This not only helps in billing, but also to ensure the manageability of your instances. Let's say, there is an attack. So and the APIs are vulnerable. In that case, the API keys have been exposed, so you can easily isolate the other instance from the one. And there are ways that you can improve on the security aspect as well. There is key rotation policies, so on and so forth. I'll not go into the details of it, but just I wanted to quickly give you a walkthrough of this. Okay, now I have already created an instance. What's the story after this? So I just okay, for any AI services on Azure, there's something called as AI Studio. Now, this studio provides you the GUI platform to explore these models. Similarly, for document intelligence, we have the document intelligence studio. So I'll just quickly go ahead and click on the document intelligence studio. And there you see the playground is open up and open for me. I have these many services to use. So let's quickly explore each of them. We see within this playground or the studio, we have the document analysis tab. Now, in this tab, you see the general models that are available to you. Okay, I just wanted to hear out from you when you talk about document intelligence. What does what is the first thing comes in your mind? I'll give it a minute for you to respond to the chat. Meanwhile, just a quick history check. This service was earlier named as Form Recognizer. while it was changed to document intelligence, and there's a reason for that. So when you say form recognizes, that was specific to just ensure that the model is able to scrap out the key value pairs from a form. But this document intelligence as a service is much more than that, and it has been evolving over the period of time. So that's where you have multiple capabilities, just like reading multiple languages, reading handwritten languages, extracting different layouts like formulas, tables, diagrams, extracting key value pairs from forms. You have multiple other pre-built models that serves a particular use case, something that we'll check out. And you can also train your custom models. So quickly get started with let's get started with one of them. We'll first talk about the read model. Okay, now it will ask me to authenticate. I'll just quickly authenticate with my account. And okay, let it open, and that's where it will again ask me to choose a specific instance. I've already created an instance, so I'll choose that specific instance, but before that I just need to switch my tenant. This is something that would not be applicable to you. Let me just switch to my tenant. Yes. Okay, now I'll just quickly open the try it out option. Now, what does this read model provide? And these are set of services that is provided by Azure for different use cases. So let's say I'll first help you explain each of them. Just a minute. Now, the first tab that you see, document analysis, these all services are the general services. Now, these serve a variety of use cases, and this would be in cases where you have a lot of structured and unstructured data. You don't know the specific pattern, or you don't know the specific format of the data to extract the data from, or let's say the extract the information from, or let's say there is a very use cases scenarios where you don't have the expertise to train a model from scratch, and you want to use some models that is provided by Azure, and to ensure that the model predicts the results or the information with a great accuracy. So that's where you should use these document analysis models. I'll explore each of them one by one. While there are also pre-built models, these pre-built models, just mind in case, are suited for specific use cases. Let's say the first model, the invoices, is specifically to extract information out of invoices. Let's say now taking an example, how would be an invoice look? Let me just quickly give you an example of that. Invoices. Okay. Now the invoices could have certain columns, certain rows. It could have item number, item prices, so on and so forth. It could have a total sum amount, or let's say it could have multiple other names or key value pairs like total. It could have total sum, total amount. It could be sum, or it could be multiple. So these models are being trained for specific use cases. They have been collectively catered, or trained for these particular use cases, and it easily identifies by the other synonyms that could have been used. Let's say bill to, it could also be written as address, source address, destination address, so on and so forth. So it this these models, the specific models that have been built for these use cases, like just like invoice, could extract those information out of your specific invoices, and it does not need to be in a specific format. It can be of any format. The other one, just like receipts, let's say I went to a hotel and I want to extract the data out of it. So I use these receipts model, and it could be of any form, any struct, and these receipt model is quite intelligent enough to extract those information out of it. Identify documents like passports, and government provided IDs, so on and so forth. You have US health insurance card, which is again very specific use case, but something that's very widely used. You can also use for other other cards also, like any membership ID or any government ID that you want to extract information from. You can use the US personal tax model, which is specific to extracting information about your tax declaration, so on and so forth. You have a model for US mortgage, US pay stub, US bank statement. So just to give you an idea, I mean, based on the requirements, these specific models have been built for a specific use case. Credit cards, contracts, I mean, business cards, so on and so forth. Now, the third scenario, I had general models. I also have specific models for the specific use cases. Now, let's say any of these models did not comply to what to my requirements, or does not serves my requirement, or let's say I have very unstructured data. That's where the accuracy of these predictions are not that great. That's where Azure also provides you the ability to train your custom models. So you can define your custom models, and these are just like, I'm not sure you have came across those UI based training model training platforms, but I mean, it's called as teachables dot AI, something like that. But I mean, just like those, you can use a small subset of data, so just like even 5 images or 5 PDFs to train your model. As simple as that. This is just like fine tuning your a model to meet the specific use cases. We'll explore each of them in details. So I was talking about the read model. Any questions, team? Feel free to ask me directly on the chat. Okay. While I just switch to the read section, I'll just quickly show you. I just switch to the read section, and that's where um, okay, the playground opens up and shows me a couple of examples that I can readily try out. Okay, so let's say this read, the idea behind this read model is to extract text information from a document, from a research paper, from a some intensive document, and then you can query those results. It's just like GPT model. You can query those results, you can get insights, so on and so forth. So I'll just quickly a quick on run analysis, and let's see what the results are from this particular poster or the paper that's available as an example. So it kind of as you see, it kind of segregates the entire paper, and it does not just extracts the text just like an OCR, but it identifies the different sections of the paper, and just collates them into a specific group. This helps identify, or let's say if I at a later point in time I have to query, so it gives me the proper struct of the data in the as it's represented on the paper. So the ordering, the comments, the highlights, the section titles, or the headers are segregated into different groups. Okay, now this is the GUI based result that I see. Something that I'll see as that's something that I can feed to some other model. Let's say there is an OpenAI LLM model that's linked to this OCR or read based model. Now I can directly feed this JSON data. This JSON data contains the struct that you see over here in the content tab. So when I click on the content tab, it shows me that hey, the content is from this particular section, and it marks with a polygon ID, so on and so forth. So you see the paragraph, subsection, so on and so forth that's available. Similarly, it's represented in a JSON format, which can be directly fed to an LM model for further, query or any further inference that you want to do. So this is something directly I can use. Now, okay, one quick thing. I'll just give you one another example. Let's say there is a resume or there's a paper that contains a lot of information. I'll just click on run analysis, and I should be able to see those data. Okay. You see the headers, so on and so forth are segregated. What I wanted to show you is also you can just try out with different other services that are different other examples that are there. You can you can put on, or you can upload your own files, and you can test out how does this work. I'll just give an example, a dummy example, and just don't go into the details of it, but I'll just try to extract the text out of it, and it very well identifies the different structs that are available within my PDF. Okay. Now, what I wanted to also emphasize upon is the code section. Now, let's say the GUI looks good to me, right? How do I integrate within my application? Let's say I have an OCR based application by which you can further query the data that's there within your PDF or any Word document. How do I integrate this read model to leverage the the application that I want to? That's where you can use the code section. That this provides a template that you can readily use to perform these options. So let me just give you a quick um preview of that. I chose the language as Python, and you see the struct over here in my VS Code. Just a minute, I'll have to reshare again. It's give me a minute. Feel free to ask any questions if you have. Okay. Now, I'll give you a case study. Okay, I'll give you a scenario. Let's say you work in an organization that captures, let's say you are a part of a publishing house, okay, and you get tons of papers, aligned research papers that are ready to publish. You want to analyze the content of this data, whether it's appropriate to the standards of your publication house. Does it contain any grammatical error, or does it align with the structure of your publication house or the specification that is published by your publication house? How do you do so? Well, that's where you will use a model like this. You'll provide the endpoints, and for sure this is an API, so you have to provide your API endpoint. You'll need to update this and the API key, and this API key is something that is confidential to use. So just mind that your application code should not contain the API key, rather you should reference a secret. And then you provide the form URL over here. So it could be a set of forms which you can read in a for loop, in a looping statement, or it could be a single document as well. And you extract this information. Then you let's say you feed the JSON data, you run the model, you feed the JSON data, which is something like this, that you will see over here. Just a minute. This JSON data which can be fed into some other LLM model for further inferencing. Or let's say if you want to just analyze the structure, you can run a Python, you can create a Python script to analyze if the structure of the content is aligned with what is expected by a publication house. So this could be a great use case, right? Something that you can really explore upon. Okay, the next model, and let me know if I am going too fast, but I'll slow down. But I just wanted to cover the next part of it. Now, the next model that we have in the house, the layout model. Okay, what is it exactly? Now, okay, what is the first thing that comes into your mind when you think about layout? A document can contain graphical images, it can contain charts, it can contain tables, it can contain pie diagrams, it can contain a lot of more information. Like, as you just saw, the previous model just extracted the text out of it. Do you think in a let's say in a very informative, or let's say in a research paper which contains a lot of tables, a lot of graphical visualization, do you find that the data extracted by the model is sufficient? Well, no. That's where I need a layout based model. Now, this layout based model, what it does is that it captures all the form of structs that are available within your document or PDF. It can extract tables. It can extract graphical charts. It can also extract, even you have seen bullet points, right? Let's say I'm into an OCR exam, and I'm in an exam, and I that's a multiple choice exam. In a handwritten form, I just selected few of the answers. How do I automatically? I don't want to ensure that I have to correct 500 submissions, and those are on papers. Okay, those are offline on papers, or it could be just a PDF. I don't want to manually go through each of the 500 papers and ensure that I correct each of them, or I check each of them. That's where I use this layout model. It can also identify radio buttons. It can also identify different options selected by the user. And just mind you, even for the previous model, for any model that is available on Azure, I mean, in terms of document intelligence, it can recognize up to 309 languages, 309 printed languages on the document. And when you talk about handwritten, languages, it can recognize up to 109 languages on text. Okay, on a handwritten languages. So let's say I wrote in English in a handwritten format, even it can recognize those as well. So the model is robust to suit these use cases. So let's give it a quick try to understand how this sample is being analyzed by this model, the layout model. Okay, click on run analysis, and I'm making it very simple for you, just from the perspective of certification, to understand the use cases. This is more important when you come and talk about the certification, to understand the use cases where you can use it, and what are the nuances of these services. Okay, you can go into much advanced of it. You can try out a code section. You can modify the code to serve your use cases, so on and so forth. um, you can also feed the data to some other models for further inferences, something like that. So you see, just like the read model, it also extracts a title, it extracts a section heading, paragraph, so on and so forth. The tables, so, all the text data. That's something okay. That looks good to me. But what is more than that? It also extracts table. You see a table over here. Ideally, when you try to feed OCR based extracted text data, which also contains tables, it will be distorted, right? It is very unstructured when it gets recognized by an OCR model. That's where if you have these sort of a layout models, you can easily extract the table information and feed it into some other models. Okay, even for some very complex data, and not with a great information. I mean, you see the scanning of the document is not that perfect, but still I'll be able to extract these informations out of the document. You see, so just think of this use case, right? As I already said, I have a government form, and the end user needs to select certain services that he or she wants to avail. Or let's say I'm into an MCQ based examination, and I have to check 500 plus submissions, which can be in a PDF format. It could be an offline paper based MCQ format. So I have to check of those documents. How do I do so? That's where the layout model comes into the handy, right? I can feed this result. It's a similar JSON form of a data. I can feed this result into some other model, and or let's say even I can have a Python code that has the checks of which answer out of this MCQ is correct or which is wrong, and it can identify those things. Even if you see, as already spoke out, for the content, you it can also recognize handwritten, words as well, the letters as well. So if you see over here, even the handwritten names are also being identified, right? You see Pravesh Kiri and so on and so forth. So something that you can readily use, integrate within your application, and more on to you to explore about it. The next models that we are trying to use, and these are all generic models, so you can use them for a variety of use cases. These are not specific to a certain use case, or let's say these are not specialized to a particular use case. Okay, now the general document, and this is something that I love to do. Okay, uh, just imagine how wide is the use case for form recognizer. Let's say you are working in a hospital as a staff, and you have to there are multiple submissions, there are multiple patient details coming up to you. How do you feed, and those are obviously in paper. So how do you feed those information into a system? Or let's say you are a part of an organization that conducts a poll for an entire nation. Those polls could be in a PDF format. It could be collected in a PDF format. It could be in an offline paper-based format, or let's say it could be also images. So you want to extract the 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 key value pairs, or let's say the poll, I mean the results are the answers of the poll that is submitted by individuals, and let's say you want to run further analysis on top of it, or you want to feed that into the system. Now, would you go and manually, feed in all of the results into the system? Well, that's a very, very long process, and it's a very resource intensive process as well. Just also imagine while manually typing the names, or also in and this is specifically very useful in case of governments, in case of hospitals, in case of banking. Let's say I'm a part of a bank. I'm a bank, and there are 1,000 applicants coming to me with the details. Now, just a single mistake in the name could also cause an account to be, demolished. Okay, or let's say a false account to be created. Even in case of a government, a small error in the mistake of a government ID creation could cause a very huge impact, right? I mean, the document can be invalid, so on and so forth. So you want to automate the entire thing, and I just want to ensure that these processes are completely automated and flawless. So that's where the general document comes into the picture. So this basically, I'm just in a nutshell, it extracts a key value pairs for you. So I'll click on run analysis, and let me just give this trial on this sample, and see what sort of a key value pairs does it is it able to extract from the form. Now you see there is a lot of information that's there on this data, just like the read. Sorry. So just like the read, it extracts the text data, and then further it identifies the key value pairs within it. Now I want to identify what is the key value pairs. So if you see the commission file number, where is my commission file number? I'll just quickly zoom in to show you. So the commission file number is 0013748, and that's where it extracted. The IRS ID, or let's say there is some other sort of a data that could be in a key value format. You see, for the normal text data, you it's extracted as, as just like a read model, and finally you get the results in a JSON format, which can be further exported to some other models for inference, so on and so forth. So just giving you one more candid example. See, you see over here, this contains a huge some sort of a dummy data, and with a lot of key value pairs, right? And this is where I would have a use case to upload this data to my system or to the government system. That's where I'll just run key value pairs. I'll extract the JSON. I'll upload it back uh, to the system, right? So you see the key value pairs have been extracted, and you can reference those key value pairs over here. It also shows you the confidence score for the system. It could be handwritten as well, so that's where the confidence score comes into the picture. Clear with this? We are done with the general models. Now, with the specific models, some of the pre-built models, you can try out any of these pre-built models. I'll just give you some of the use cases wherein you can use this pre-built model, and trust me, these organizations are using this very widely. Owing to the fact these have a very high training scores. So, and since these are specialized to a specific use case, this comes as very handy. Okay, let's say I want to try out the receipts. Okay, now I have a receipt. It could be as random as any receipt from any hotel. It could be a receipt from an hospital. It could be a receipt from a bank. It could be a receipt from a school or a college regarding the fee payment, right? It could be of any format. Now this model has been trained to generally identify the content of these receipts. And when you say receipts, I could have also extracted these in a key value pair format. Do you think that would serve my need? Well, yes, it could have served my need. But when you talk about a more specialized model, like an invoice or a government ID format, it knows that a name, like just give an example, an invoice or a receipt. Okay, a receipt could have the sum, the items, it could have the item quantity, it could have the tax information, so on and so forth. So it will extract intelligently, it will extract those information and provide it to you. It will identify the relevant information that you can further query upon, and you can use those relevant information to do further analysis. So just give an example. Taking this random receipt. So you see the arrival date, the currency is USD, departure date, the merchant address, so on and so forth, and the total sum that's there. Even for an image, an image like this with some handwritten text, you can run the script and get those information. This becomes very handy for specific use cases. And you, if you see, even if the letters are distorted, it will be able to extract those information. So these specific models comes as very handy for different use cases. And you obviously, for your specific use case, if you're not able to identify any of these models to suit your requirement, you can also train your own model. Now, just to summarize this, you can go ahead and you can try out any of the models. These serve different use cases, which is obviously very useful. But what I'm more interested now is to use the custom models. Now, what is these custom models? Okay, do I have to? Do I need technical expertise, or let's say knowledge of machine learning to train these models? The answer is, well, no. But you need a partial information. Okay, so let's get started, and I'll give you a walkthrough of these as well. So there are two types of model: custom extraction model and custom classification model. Now, when you talk about extraction model, it could be key value pair, it could be text extraction, it could be layout extraction, so on and so forth. When it's a classification model, let's say I have a lot of unstructured data. It could be a receipt, it could be a government ID, it could be a plain text, it could be a research paper, so on and so forth. And you want to, identify, or you want to segregate these, the documents based on their document type. So that's where a classification scenario comes into picture. This is a very layman term classifying example, but just given a more, brief or a more detailed example, it could be just like, even thinking of, let's say I have government IDs, and these are across multiple nations. I want to identify which government ID belongs to which nation. That could be a classification example. So, based on the structure, based on the layout, based on the key value pairs, it identifies, hey, this government ID belongs to India, this government ID belongs to US, this government belongs to Europe, so on and so forth. Now, about the custom extraction model. Okay, so as just given an example, sign into the document studio. Just a minute. Okay. I'm signing in. Any questions meanwhile? Okay. So it will just give me an example of how I can train a custom extraction model. And I'll encourage you to watch this before you get started. But I'll just, in the interest of time, I'll create a project and I'll show you how I can train a model. Now, I really don't require a machine learning expertise. I don't want to train a model from scratch. I'm someone who's non-technical, right? But I have some limited amount of data set. Let's say, even five. You can train a model on 5 images as well. Ideally, an image, or let's say an computer vision based models requires a huge amount of data set. It lacks to train a model. But over here, the purpose is to fine tune a model. So that's where you can use a let set of images. But it's ideally recommended that when once you're trying to train a custom model, you should ideally use a diverse model. And also, obviously, the number of data sets that's there in your model should depend on the use case that you're trying to solve. Let's say if I have a use case of identifying the key value pairs within a given format. I know the format is consistent. I just want to extract the key value pairs. In that case, I could have a data set with a less number of images, and also could have, obviously, since the structure is consistent across all the forms, I could have less number of images, and the model can easily learn upon extracting those key value pairs from those in the PDFs of the documents. Okay, while if I have a form, and the form structure widely, varies. Okay, there's no proper structure given to that form. That's where I want to, make my model learn about which particular key value pair in my form is important. That's where the data should be diverse. The data set should also be huge. In terms, great, more and diverse, so that the model is able to learn up the different varieties of key value pairs that it can come across, and what sort of a data is important to it. Now, I'll also introduce one other concept, and not very much technical, but just introduce one more concept. This concept of labeled and unlabeled data set. There is for people who are from machine learning background, it's very common to you, I'm pretty sure. But what is labeled and unlabeled data set? When you have a data set, right? When you talk about labeled data set, you provide a model that, hey model, you within this form you want to extract only these key value pairs, or you want to specify that, hey form, the more form can have, I mean, hey model, the form can have multiple key value pairs, but just extract only the important key value pairs which I have mentioned. While in a unlabeled data set, you provide a PDF, you allow the model to extract the key value pair information, and based on that, you provide the recommendations, or you provide a positive or a negative reinforcement for the model to learn upon which particular data or the information is important to it, or how the information should be extracted. So, without a further ado, I'll just quickly create an instance for my own custom model. So, let's say form recognizer custom model. Okay, and I'll just put in the same description. It says Azure to create a project, you need the following: Azure Document Intelligence or Azure Cognitive Service resources. I already have the Document Intelligence resource and Azure Blob Storage Container. What is a Blob Storage Container? It's a storage, an object storage solution provided by Azure. Okay, with the training data. So I don't have a training data. We'll collate some training data and we'll train our model on that. Now it asks me to select a specific instance that I created. So I'll just go ahead and I'll select my instance. I'll need to switch my tenant before that, and this might not be a scenario for you. Just ignore this part, but I just need to quickly switch my tenant. I hope you are following. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and create a custom extraction model. Give me a minute. Okay, and create project. I'll give it a name as form recognizer custom. Continue. Select existing. I'll select my subscription. I'll select my resource group. Again, just to reiterate, your subscription is your top level isolation layer or the logical layer that encapsulates the resource, and the resource group is the sub isolation layer or the logical group that contains the resource. Okay, now I selected the specific document intelligence resource that I created in the previous step, and I'll select as set. I can set as default. I can also create a new resource, but since I already have created a resource, I'll just use that. It says me the API version, so I'll choose the latest API version. That's this, which is in generally available. Continue. Now it asks me, hey, select the training data. Obviously, the training data could be in your local. It could be on your storage account. Okay, I, ideally for training your model, it uses data in your storage account. So I'll need to select a storage account. I'll just go ahead and select my subscription, just like your AI instance. You also need to store a storage account. Your storage account into a resource group and a subscription, and I'll select the resource group name, and then I'll select the storage account name. Okay, okay, I'll not ask it to create a new storage account, or let's say I'll create a new storage account. So in that scenario, I'll select a different RG, and then I'll provide a storage data set storage. Okay, and in mind that my storage account is currently empty, so I have to fill in with the training data. I'll choose the location as Central India, pricing tier as Standard LRS, and I'll not go into the details of it, and I'll name the blob as my data set. Okay, it says it cannot contain a hyphen, so I'll create a form data set, and the folder path could be root, so I'll just keep it empty for now and continue, and you can create a project. Okay, but before training the model, first I'll have to populate my storage account with some data sets. So that's where I'll just go ahead and take up some forms from the internet. So I'll just pull out a data set from Kaggle itself. So it's a handwritten form data. I'll click on download. Let's see how much. It's 5 GBs. What I'll do is that I need a partial set of data out of it. I'm coming to this platform after a long time, but just give me a minute. I hope you are able to follow. Uh, okay, my bad. It says the account is logged. Not a problem. Okay, so what I'll do is that I'll extract some data, some dummy data, form data set with our notation. Let's check this. It says the blob account name, or blob account already exists, and select a blob account name. Back. Okay, I'll just need to select a separate. I'll put my initials just to ensure that this is a unique name. Create project. Let me just try pulling in government subset. Okay, let's check if the data is there. I'm just interested in some random data set which I can use to train my model. Okay, now since that's already there, let me extract and just try uploading the same. I'll not upload a lot of data set. I'll just show you that even with the small subset of the data set, I can train my model. Extract all data one. Okay, till the time I'll just quickly go to this and see if the yeah. Okay, now it says you need to upload the data, and this data, the label data will be uploaded to your blob storage. Okay, so upload documents, at least 5 documents are required. This is the minimum. Click on add field and done. Okay, so I'll just go extract the data once it's done. Data. Okay, and then so you have a sort of a form data like this, and this could be any random form data. Let's give it a try and just upload 5 to 6 images out of this and give it a try how this model is able to inference out of it. Yeah. Okay, data, images, and let's say I'll pull in some amount of data. Open. Okay, now it's asked me that start labeling now. Okay, so you can either choose to label it yourself, which is your label data, or you can choose also to auto label it. Okay, so I'll just run now and General virtual network firewall rules. Okay, just give me a minute. It seems that the request is being denied by the network's security. Let me just go back and check what is the configuration. Any questions, folks? Meanwhile, feel free to ask me any questions. So I'll just go to the settings. I should not be able to see. I should not have any uh, network settings. Access denied to watch network firewall rules. Okay. Next time, let's go ahead. Let me just try creating with an other project. I might have a, I mean, network security rule being defined. So not this one. Okay. I don't think so. I have any constraints over this. Let me just give it a try. I'll select the same storage account which is created initially. Okay, it says that there is no storage account, so I'll just create one. I'll give it a name as dataset storage account is between my with my initials. Okay, it says okay, and Central India, LRS, data set. Well, the path could be empty, create project. Let's give it a quick try. Raghav, so basically the idea behind is to extract the data out of your form. So let's say if there is an incomplete let alphabets, or there is a handwritten text and it contains incomplete alphabet, it will only be able to recognize the alphabets that is there. While to complete the word, you would require a different LLM based model to complete, I mean, complete the sentence or the word, so on and so forth. So this form recognizer or the document intelligence suite of tools that are available, it does not helps you to complete the word. Let's say I'm just giving an example. Okay, doc, and I mean the rest part of it is missing. It could be docs, it could be document, it could be anything, right? So that's where this feature is not directly inbuilt. But yes, you can have specific LLM models to, I mean, obviously LLM models are specific to a particular use case, right? So if it's a government based organization, it could be doc could probably mean to a document or something like that. So even a names could not be completed, right? And missing alphabets in the name cannot be completed. So yeah, government IDs numbers cannot be completed. So this thing that's not directly there, but yeah, you can leverage LLM models specifically trained for your use case, and then you can run on top of it. So okay, for this particular instance, I'll just quickly give it a try, and I'll click on auto label, select model ID, so I don't have any issues. So now it says you want to train your custom model, but I won't train my model from scratch, right? I don't want to train a model from scratch. Neither do I have so much of data set. I just have, let's say, 10 data set, or let's say seven amount of data set. Okay, a very limited. That's where I want to fine tune my model, and so that's where Azure asks you that, hey, user, you want to fine tune your model. I understand you want to fine tune your the model to a particular use case. What is the base model that you want to select? So ideally, in my case, I would like to select the most relevant base model. So I won't select a health insurance card. I would select ID document. It could be an ID document. It could be an invoice. It could be a receipt. It could be tax US W2. Okay. So let's say I am selecting ID document. Okay, because it's a form. Or let's say I select an yeah, ID document makes much sense to me. It's much closer. And okay, and I'll click on auto label, and based on that, it will label the document. Since I have uploaded a unlabeled document, want to auto label it. You can draw regions to ensure, I mean, just to emphasize on which particular I mean section of the data is important. And the form, I mean, the model will only recognize the text from that particular region. You can click on run layout. When so you click on run layout, it will run the model. Okay, so it says auto labeling error, because obviously this is not a government ID, but it is a form, right? So I'll just go with the unlabeled documents. Okay, and just give it a try again with the intercept. It's neither a receipt as well, so I just doubt if that will work. But the idea behind for me, and you see that the form data is empty over here. So if it's very small, the form data is empty, but it's just the form struct that I'm providing to the model. So over here, ideally, my intuition should be key value pairs, wherein you have the key and the values as well filled in. So okay, I'll give it time. Meanwhile, I also want to highlight upon the different thing. Once you have labeled your data, you can train the data via using a model. Okay, and there are tons of set of models that are available to you from public source, and that is something that is available to you by Microsoft. Once trained, the model is trained on your data. You can also test out the model. Now, this testing helps ensure the reinforcement part of the the training. So where you actually test out the model and you provide a feedback to the model that hey, the value extracted or the information extracted was something that was relevant or something that was not relevant, and based on that it further fine tunes, and finally you are able to use that model, or you are able to publish that model for your specific use case. It will take its own time. Meanwhile, it's extracting all the information from the form. Okay, and since all of the forms are of different struct, so I'll just give it a quick time. Meanwhile, I'll open the forum for you guys to ask questions if you have any. Okay, so somebody say Vinayak says, how is Azure AI Document Intelligence different from a traditional Python pipeline? So okay, I mean, these are two different things. When you talk about traditional Python pipeline, I said I guess you are talking about some models that you have built probably, or you are using these models from some public sources, right? So okay, is that understanding correct, Vinay? When you say Python pipeline? Okay, so I'll just take that assumption and just correct me. Okay, so when you talk about any open source model, okay, now these models are something that is built by Microsoft. Okay, so obviously there is huge amount of data that is there. The prediction accuracy, the rate of false, false positive, is very minimal. It's almost close to negligible. So that's where any known organization publishing can you are able to see those and you are able to leverage those models. So you need not train, or you need not train a model from scratch. Neither do you want to use a model with a low accuracy that is available to you on open source. That's where these models are available to you. The idea behind is that let's say I am someone who does not have very huge grasp on machine learning, or neither I could be someone who does not have such amount of data set to train to ensure that a model predicts well. So that's where I can leverage the already existing models that's published by some known organization, right? So yes, the second question is for keyword extraction from PDF. Okay, so that you're asking about, specific question that how is it document intelligence different from traditional Python pipeline for keyword extraction from PDF? Yeah, that's what I said, right? So, it could be an ideal. Just take an example on is OCR, right? OCR extracts a text, provides you the text. Now, imagine if it's a key value pair. It's if it's a tabular format. If it's a chart data, all the data is scattered and it's unstructured. You're not able to identify, and you're not able to segment the data as it's represented in document, right? That's one of these section. One of the use case. The other thing that's key to remember or key to know is when you talk about these document intelligence tools that are available with Microsoft or any other cloud provider. Okay, these tools are meant for specific use cases. So when you have the ability to emphasize, or let's say you have the ability to train the model to extract all the key value pairs which is important to you. If it's a regular key value, key value extraction based model, we have successfully, okay. If it's a regular key value pair extraction model, you're just extracting all the information. But while you feed that information that is extracted to some other model, do you think that the model will be able to infer or analyze the data that is relevant? Well, no, right? Because you're providing everything to that model. So you just want something that is relevant to you. If it's government ID, only the name, the parent's name, the address, your mobile number, so on and so forth. The government IDs is something that is important. Something that on is on top of the header. Okay, and let's say Government of India provided Aadhaar card, so on and so forth. That's not relevant to you, right? If it's a receipt, receipt contains multiple information, right? It could be taxing information, it could be items information. What you are more interested on the total, the items, the tax, and stuff, right? You're not much interested on the shipping to, or let's say the source, the address, or the provider, so on and so forth. It could be a particular use case. So, the idea when what I want to convey to you is that these models can be trained or can be fine tuned for a specific use case, and again, the accuracy is one of the key USP that one would like to use, or an organization would like to use these models. The second one is a continuation of the first one. Yeah, yeah, I got it, Vinay. Thanks. So I'll just continue. Okay, and we are just coming to the end of this, and in the present the demonstration. So you see the labels have automatically been trained, and again, the model identifies based on its intuition. It identifies which is important. So it identified that Department of Veteran Affairs over here is important, while the Department of Veteran Affairs it kind of extracts the common information from the forms. Okay, now I'll click on train. If I want to manually do label it, I can do so. Okay, I'll paste in the model ID. Okay, custom form recognizer, and this should be unique because this is something that you'll be publishing. You can keep it private. You can keep it. You can also publish it publicly. Okay. Now build model. Okay, so the build model could be a template. It could be a neural. I'll explain you what is a neural and a template, but I'll just go with the neural, and I will training in progress. So I'll just allow it some good amount of time to train. While the training is in progress, I'll just quickly help you understand what is a template and what is a neural model. Okay, I'll just show bring up the template, the doc. Neural model Azure AI Source. And just a quick, heads up for any thing that you want to refer, you want to understand. The Microsoft documentation is the best sort tool, the most important tool with all the information that you require to learn about it. So, okay, I want to give you an example of custom template. What is a custom template model? So, when you training a model, it could be a custom template model. It could be a custom neural model. When you talk about a template model, I give you an example, right? You have a form where you know the structure is common, right? The structure is consistent across all the forms. Let's say it's a government form for enrollment into the Aadhaar, okay, or it's an exam offline paper-based exam conducted by a college, an MCQ-based exam or a handwritten exam, okay, a subjective exam. So that's where the question is consistent, the structure is consistent. The question might not be consistent, but the structure is consistent. That is where you can train a template-based model where you know the format of the structure is consistent. That's where you can train a custom template model. When you know that the structure is not consistent, in our case, the structure was not consistent. You saw the label data, the forms were inconsistent, right? The type of the form changes or differs widely. So that's where a neural based model or a custom neural model is something that you choose to train. So this custom neural model can recognize your different set of data, be it structured, unstructured, with different patterns. It can extract informations, and again, since it's a neural based model, the idea behind is that it can very for it can train on a varied or a diverse set of data set. When it's a template, it's a fixed format that you know, and the data can vary over there. Yeah, I will give it a quick amount, quick good time. So I hope, it will take its own time, so I'll not just bore you down with the same thing. But I think you got a good gist and an understanding through a hands-on demonstration through the session. And I am pretty sure, and I hope you would try out these models yourself. I'm super excited to see how you integrate these models to your own applications. For sure, leverage the GitHub Developers Toolpack as well as the free tier that's available to you for this AI instance, and you can, integrate with your own application. Do reach out to me on LinkedIn with your projects that you have built with using document intelligence or any other Azure AI service, and I would love to share that across with my network. Thank you so much, team. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll just quickly share my socials so that you can again connect. Yeah, just a minute. I'm super active on LinkedIn. You can also connect with me on Instagram, and yeah, just a minute. What's wrong with this? I do also publish some tech content there as well. So, and something that I'm readily doing these days. So, feel free to connect with me there as well. And yeah, would love to catch.
Thank you so much, Saurav, for sharing your insights and expertise with us today. Your session was incredibly informative, and we're grateful for the time and effort you've put into helping us understand Azure AI Document Intelligence. Now, we'd like to open the floor for questions. If you have any questions for Saurav, please drop them in the chat and we'll address them as many as possible. Don't hesitate, this is your chance to get answers directly from the expert.
Okay, so Keshav asks, can Azure AI Document Intelligence support handwritten text recognition, and what are its limitation in this area? Okay, so Keshav, just a quick, repetition of the same. Yes, Azure AI Document Intelligence supports up to 309 languages. 309 languages, very extensive, and it's continuously evolving in terms of printed, text. Okay, we'll talk about written text or handwritten text. It can recognize up to 109 languages. I'll just quickly share a reference of the Microsoft documentation that also talks about that as well. So let's say you have a specific use case that you want to identify, letters or handwritten text in Hindi. Okay, so that's where you can go ahead and you can use these document intelligence for those specific purposes. Just imagine a scenario: you are in a hackathon and you want to build some tool for the government, and which requires recognition of Hindi languages, right? Hindi text. So that could be a possible great use case, right? minute. Yeah, this was something I was looking for. So if you see over here, handwritten text, these many, uh, the printed is this. 1 minute. I'll just share it over here in the chat for your reference. Okay, it says the comment has failed to post. Okay, no problem.
Uh, you can share
Okay,
us
you can
live.
just
Yeah, hi Saurav. You can share us and we will be sharing to the audience
sure,
later on.
sure thing. Any other question? Okay, so Raghav asks, can the model predict incomplete alphabets or numbers? Well, Raghav has already said your incomplete data could be anything, right? It could be even a name. It could be it could be some government IDs, and you can never predict the missing text out of it, right? It could be a number, it could be a alphabet. So obviously, the document intelligence is the idea behind the document intelligence is to extract information and not generate information. So yeah, it does not do. But yes, if you have a LLM model specifically trained for that use case, you can integrate it with the document intelligence, and it can help generate the missing characters.
All
It's
right.
in,
Thank you so
yeah.
much, sir. Now, don't forget, just like in previous sessions, the best way to win prizes like branded Microsoft goodies and WhizLabs subscriptions is by writing a blog or maintaining a GitHub repository for each session, posting about your learnings on LinkedIn or Twitter, mentioning Azure Developer Community, WhizLabs, and Yash Katiyar, engaging in the live sessions and following our social media channels. The submission deadline for this session will be Saturday, 26th October 2024, 6 p.m. Make sure you submit before the deadline. Stay updated by joining our social media channels and WhatsApp community. Scan the QR code on the screen to connect with us and never miss an announcement or event update. Remember, the top three participants with the best blog or GitHub page will receive branded Microsoft goodies. Additionally, at the end of the bootcamp, the top 15 blogs or GitHub pages will receive a 1 month WhizLab subscription. So make sure to engage and share your learnings to stand a chance to win. A big thank you to the amazing team working behind the scenes to make this bootcamp possible. Your hard work and dedication are truly appreciated. We look forward to seeing you all again on the 26th and 27th of October for our next sessions on develop natural language processing solutions with Azure AI services. Don't miss it. It promises to be another fantastic learning experience. Thank you again to everyone who joined us today. We hope you found this session valuable and that it sparks new ideas for how you can use AI in your own projects. Have a great day, and we'll see you all on the 26th and 27th at 12 p.m.